Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets drafting Cooper Flagg. Now, of course, talking about the Rockets potentially drafting Cooper Flagg, the number one thing that has to happen is the Rockets get the number one overall pick. But it seems like that actually could be a very, very decent possibility for this Houston Rockets team entering the May 12th draft lottery. Here's the one thing I will say. May 12th is around the time you will see the conference finals. The conference finals should be around that time during May 12th, when we see the draft lottery happen. How crazy would it be? And I don't know if this team can do it this year. We'll see. There are a lot of people that are saying this Rockets team are first-round exits. I don't know if this team can get to the conference finals, but I sure as hell don't think they're first-round exits. I think the Rockets can get to the second round. Question is, depending on who they play in the second round, do they win and go to the conference finals? But if they were able to get to the conference finals, I definitely think they're going to be around in the second round. I don't think they're first-round exits. But if they were able to win in the second round as well and get to the conference finals, how crazy would it be if a team that's in the conference finals gets probably the biggest prospect we've seen in a while? Victor Wembanyama, we saw him in 2023, but I think Victor Wembanyama is on his own world, right? Victor Wembanyama, you got prospects like LeBron James and Victor Wembanyama, like we saw in the last 20 years. With LeBron, in 2003 when he got drafted, and Victor Wembanyama a couple years ago, they're on a different level. Now, this is, and also if you look at it this way, this is the biggest college prospect since 2019, since Zion. Because if you look at Victor Wembanyama, from coming into the NBA from France, LeBron James skipped college. So yeah, he is the biggest, I think the biggest, college player coming into the NBA draft since Zion Williamson. But it would be interesting to see the Rockets land him. If you're wondering, how can the Rockets get him? If you don't, there are some people that potentially aren't keeping up with, and this is okay. I think there are a lot of Rockets fans that know this, but there are some Rockets fans that might just like to watch the games and don't know a lot of information of how the Rockets could land the number one overall pick, even though they're the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Well, last year in June, we saw the Rockets make a trade with the Phoenix Suns where they traded all Brooklyn's picks, or most of Brooklyn's picks, for the Phoenix Suns draft picks. Now, the Rockets had the Nets picks because of the Harden trade, of course, and the Suns obviously just had, their draft picks. The Nets had the Suns draft picks from the KD trade, and so the Rockets sent their picks. The Rockets sent the Nets picks back to Brooklyn, and the Rockets received Phoenix's picks from Brooklyn. And one of the hopes the Rockets had in doing this was that in the future it could potentially help them land a Kevin Durant or a Devin Booker. Well, here's the one thing that I don't know if Rafael Stone expected when he made this trade. Now, I think in some of the later draft picks he got, like some of the draft picks that are in this trade, that he got in this trade that are in the future in a couple years, I think he expected those draft picks to be good. But I don't know if Stone, when he made this trade, expected this draft pick that the Rockets have this year from Phoenix to be as good as it is right now. Because Phoenix right now is the 11 seed. They have a chance of being 36-46 to finish off they have a chance. I want to say they're 35-45 right now, and if they lose the last 2 games, they have a chance to be 35-47 to finish off the season. Honestly, I think Rafael Stone is a genius, but I don't know if he thought the Suns would be this bad this year. I think there are definitely some people that could have thought the Suns would be a bad team this year, maybe be a play-in team, maybe just a 500 record, but I don't think there are much people that thought the Suns at the most would win potentially 35, 36 games this year. And so right now, the Phoenix Suns have the 9th worst record in the NBA. All right? And what does that get you? That gives you a 17.3% chance to get into the top 4 and a 3.8% chance to get into the number 1 overall pick. If you think that those aren't great odds, keep in mind, last year when the Rockets had Brooklyn's pick, and Brooklyn had the same exact spot, ninth worst record in the league for the Brooklyn Nets, and only a 17% chance to get in the top 4 that the Rockets had with Brooklyn's pick. And the Rockets got the 3rd overall pick and drafted Reed Sheppard. Or the team before them, the Atlanta Hawks, who had the 10th worst record in the league. The Hawks had a better record than the Nets did, and they had the 10th worst record in the league. They had a less percent chance than the Rockets to get the number 1 overall pick. The Rockets had a 3.8% chance last year to get the number 1. And the Hawks had a 3.7% chance, and a little bit of a it was like a 16% chance to get to the top 4, and they got the number 1 overall pick and drafted Zachary Risese, who literally had 40 points last night, or 38 points last night, career high. And so yeah, even if you don't have a great percentage, you still got a chance. You saw it last year at the Rockets and the Hawks being the 9th and 10th worst record, worst teams in the league, and still both ending in the top 3 last year. Atlanta at 1 and Houston at 3. Oh, Houston didn't have a bottom 10 record last year, but the Nets did, and the Rockets had their pick. So yeah. Now this year, the Rockets' odds this year actually has a chance to go up. Now, but in order for that to happen, us Rockets fans, we need to become Spurs fans in order for that to happen. This is why I say this is because if the Suns and the Spurs end up with the same record, the Suns will finish the season with not the 9th worst record in the league, but the 8th worst record in the league. And that will take the Rockets' chances from not 17, instead of a 17% chance of getting into the top 4, it would be a 26% chance. Instead of a 3.8% of the number 1 overall pick, it would be a 6% chance. And funny thing, when the New Orleans Pelicans received the number 1 overall pick and drafted Zion Williamson in 2019, that's the exact same percentage that the Pelicans had. The Pelicans, when they drafted another Duke star in Zion, they had a 6% chance. And here we are talking about another Duke star potentially trying to get to a new team. All right, Cooper Flagg last year was unbelievable. We saw it. Was AP Player of the Year. And not only that, but, was, NCAA all-tourney, NCAA all-region as well. Not only did he get that, but won 2024-25 ACC Rookie of the Year, 2024-2025 All-ACC, ACC All-Defense, and this was his freshman season. Averaged 19 points per game, averaged 8 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, 1.5 blocks per game, 1.4 steals per game. From 3, shot 39%. And that was in 30 minutes per game. And there was also one of those games. There was one game that he had where he got injured early in the game, and it kept that definitely hurt his numbers a little bit. It was like he finished with 5 points or something because he got injured early, and that hurt his averages a little bit too. So yeah, he had a killer season with Duke. It was really good in the tournament as well. And yeah, I think he's going to be a great player. And if the Rockets could get him, I mean, it would be insane. Here's what it would remind me of. It would remind me of the Boston Celtics in the 2016-17 season. It really would. Now, Boston didn't get the number 1 overall pick, but it's kind of similar because they got a Duke stud. The year the Celtics drafted Jason Tatum, and they get Jason Tatum, an unbelievable prospect, and I believe it was number 2 or number 3 overall that Boston drafted him. I want to say it was number 2 overall. Boston got the 2nd overall pick and drafted a Duke stud, number 2 overall, in the 2017 NBA draft, and got Jason Tatum. And that same exact year, where were they? They were in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavaliers. So I think it'd be kind of similar if the Rockets were in that position this year. If the Rockets made it to the Western Conference Finals and still ended up with a top pick, that'd be crazy. But that's all because of Rafael Stone's move where he traded up, made the trade with the Nuts to get the Phoenix's picks. A lot of people were in question of that deal at the time. I don't think anyone's going to question that deal with the Rockets to get the number 1 overall pick. But could you imagine Cooper Flagg on the same court with Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün? Here's the one thing I think I'd be excited about. Cooper Flagg's a great three-point shooter. I've always said this. Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson, to be better facilitators, need more better shooters around them. This Rockets team needs to be a better three-point shooting team, and that really could start with Cooper Flagg if you bring him in and if you get the number 1 overall pick. Let me know your thoughts on this potential chance of Cooper Flagg being the Rockets. If you really want Cooper Flagg to be a Rocket, here's what you need to do. Well, you need to root for the San Antonio Spurs tonight going up against the Phoenix Suns. The San Antonio Spurs and Harrison Barnes made this possible. Harrison Barnes might deserve a statue in Houston if this happens for the Rockets. If the Spurs win their next 2 games against the Suns tonight and the Raptors, and the Suns lose their next 2 games against the Spurs and the Kings, and the Rockets their chances go up from 3.8% to 6%, and 16% or 17% to 26%, and the Rockets somehow land the number 1 overall pick or a top pick, Harrison Barnes deserves a statue in Houston, because the Rockets wouldn't have a chance to potentially move up their odds if it wasn't for Harrison Barnes' game-winning shot against the Golden State Warriors. Because then there would be no way for San Antonio, San Antonio to have a better record than Phoenix. But if San Antonio, there is a chance San Antonio could, there is still a chance now that San Antonio and Phoenix could finish the season with the same record on the year. And since San Antonio beat the Suns in 2 of 3 matchups this year, the Suns would have the worst record of the 2 teams. So let me know your thoughts on the potential opportunity for the Rockets to land Cooper Flagg. I think it's unlikely, but it's a possibility. Especially, it's not impossible when you look at the fact that the Hawks had a 3.7% chance last year to get the number 1 overall pick, and they still did. And then 2019, the Pelicans had a 6% chance to get it, and they still did. So I don't think it's much of a it's not delusional if you look at what happened with the Pelicans in 2019 or the Hawks in last year's lottery. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out. Go Rockets.